And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm going to tell you another brand new video for Gaming with GS. And today I want to talk about the upcoming patch that we'll be getting on December 13th, which is Tuesday, which means we're going to get another patch. And since Winter's Day is just around the corner, that's exactly what we're going to be getting. But we're also going to be getting some changes to PvP, and specifically the leagues in PvP. Now, PvP League Season 5 will be starting with a lot of change, which we're going to talk about today, and sort of preview some of these changes. We're also going to go over some general balance changes that are coming as well. I'll give you a very, very short rundown on that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Winter's Day and what you can possibly expect. Now, the hope is that Winter's Day is different this year, but I'll be very frank with you. I highly doubt that Winter's Day is going to be any different from last year, mainly because most of the work has been going into new content, into these new PvE maps. And seeing as we're getting a huge PvP revamp for Season 5, it seems like a lot of work has gone into that as well. So most likely we're probably not going to get anything huge or new for Winter's Day. What they'll probably do is add in a small twist that makes this year a little different from last year, so it's not completely copy and pasted. But we know that Karma usually always has a big influence in Winter's Day, and the new maps have been promoting Karma, so maybe they'll add something with Karma in Winter's Day. I generally like Winter's Day. I tend to like those activities a bit more. There tend to be a bit more activities than Halloween. I tend to enjoy those more, so perhaps it won't be too bad if this is your first Winter's Day though. Just like with Halloween, I hope you enjoy it. There's a lot to do during Winter's Day. There's a lot of rewards to get, and as always, we'll definitely have a guide for this year as well. So if you've never done Winter's Day, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because a guide will be coming up for Winter's Day when it is released, maybe like a day or two after. Also, good news is that I finished my semester at university, so we should be getting videos out a lot quicker for the rest of this month and for part of January. So really excited for Winter's Day. Hope you are as well. Halloween tends to be a bit more for profit. I mean, Winter's Day gifts do sell, but I feel like trick-or-treat bags sell for a bit more. I've always made more gold during Halloween than I did during Winter's Day. So if you're looking to make gold, don't expect as much of a margin of income as you did during Halloween, but there is some ways to make gold, and we'll definitely address that as well in the Winter's Day video. So while Winter's Day may just be the same, PvP Season 5 surely won't be the same. Now, I know a lot of you may not be interested in PvP. Maybe it's because it's not really skill-based. Maybe you feel like it's more so reward-based, which I can completely agree with you. Maybe it's because you're not that good at PvP. Maybe it's because matchmaking is terrible, which sometimes it can be. Maybe because the rewards suck. Or maybe it's just because you just don't like PvP in general, or you don't like how Arena is promoting it that much. But I encourage you to at least listen to this video, listen to the changes that are coming up, because maybe you'll want to try PvP out again. There are a lot of cool things happening with PvP, a lot of cool changes, and I think these changes are for the better. Now, so far, I've heard and read nothing but positive things from these changes I'm going to talk about, so hopefully this will stir PvP into a more positive player environment, but we all know how competitive play works. Most likely, that's not going to happen. Granted, though, Guild Wars 2 does have one of the better competitive environments than, say, some of the other games such as League of Legends, which is known to have a toxic environment. But I digress. Now, there will be pictures of the new PvP changes, some of the new UI, some of the new interface, some of the new rewards, some of the new vendors. There will be relevant pictures in the footage of this video, so if you want to take a glance at the video, have it open on the side, I would encourage you to do so if you are curious to see some of the new changes coming in. However, the patch is coming the 13th Tuesday, along with Winter's Day. The new PvP season starts then, so if not, you can just wait till then. But essentially, prior to the patch that's coming Tuesday, we've always had a problem with matchmaking. Whether it will be single or duos getting matched against pre-mades and just getting wrecked so hard, or people being able to cheat the system somehow, that's always been a problem for some reason. We've also always had the problem with pips. A lot of people didn't like how this was more so of a reward system and how it tried to be a skill system. A person who was in Sapphire wasn't necessarily better than a person who was in Emerald. It just meant that they played a lot more. The same goes with Legendary and Diamond. Person who was in those ranks didn't necessarily mean that you were better than a Sapphire. It just meant that you grinded a lot more and you were able to get to that rank. I believe there was a very analytical study done, not really a study, but a person really looked into it, that you could pretty much get to Legendary and get to Diamond, regardless of how many times you won or lost, based on simple RNG. You would be able to get to Legendary or Diamond if you played enough games, and a lot of people were able to get to Diamond even though they weren't really Diamond skill based. So that's being addressed as well, and that was a problem. And mainly pips were always reward tracks, sort of. Now it does seem like Arena is addressing all these problems by rolling in new changes to make a more competitive environment, to make more accurate indicators to measure your skill level, getting better rewards to us. So a lot of cool things are coming. Now prior to the patch coming Tuesday, matchmaking dealt with pips as we knew it. So if players were 16 pips out of your range, they basically wouldn't be in your matchmaking pool. You would only get people that are within 15 pips of the amount of pips that you have. Now this obviously limited matchmaking. It also made queue times longer, and apparently this season, Season 5, pips won't be taken into the calculation anymore on measuring your MMR, which is your matchmaking rating. Now MMR is going to be based off of something completely different. This also means that there are better queue times, and what they're now implementing is a solo and duo queue. Now this means that you're not going to be able to play PvP with, say, 2 of your other friends. There is no more 3-man, 4-man, 5-man teams in Ranked. Ranked will only have solo and duo queue. Now, obviously, this may not sit right with some of you. Some of you obviously may have 2 friends, 3 friends, and now you can't play Ranked with them anymore. But be aware, this was a decision made by the community. The majority of the PvP community who plays PvP voted on a poll, and they said, we want solo and duo queue. So this isn't something that Arena is just throwing in there because they feel like it's the best thing to do. This is something that we as a community decided on, so hopefully it's what you guys wanted. I didn't vote in the poll. I don't play PvP that much, but I definitely will be this next season because some of these changes look really awesome, and I think you're in for a much better experience in PvP. Now, while there's only solo and duo queue, we did hear in the past, and I think I mentioned it in a previous video, that they will be rolling in next season, Season 6, or maybe in Season 7, they are going to be rolling in Team Queue again for Team Ranked. So I'm guessing what the ideology behind this is, let's put in solo and duo queue so people can start building those teams, and then when we drop in Team Ranked queue, people will actually have somewhat established teams, and they can actually go in and go against other teams. The problem with Team Ranked queuing before was that there weren't many established teams, and sometimes you would get matched up against another team that was pre-made. So I think this is a wise move. They're gonna try to allow people to make their teams through solo and duo queuing, and once they're more established, they can roll in a proper team queue for Ranked, and then we can actually see some purely team-based fights, 5-mans versus 5-mans, pre-mades versus pre-mades, and it won't be as it was the first 4 seasons. Now, as far as this new MMR system that we have, this new measure of skill, since pips won't be used anymore, they are going to be using something a bit more traditional. Everyone is basically going to get a skill rating, and based on that level, based on that skill rating, you'll be placed into bronze, silver, gold, platinum, or legendary, and this will determine what badge you have next to your name. This will determine how fast you earn rewards, and there's also supposed to be some type of leaderboard also for the top 250 players based on that skill rating for more exclusive titles. So this is really nice because a lot of us did want a leaderboard. This has been something that people have been requesting since Season 1, really, to have some sort of leaderboard, and now they have it. A lot of these changes seem very reminiscent of League of Legends. League of Legends has their own challenger leaderboard. They also have their own, ranking system of bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and whatnot. So it seems like Guild Wars 2 is really trying to look at the different MOBAs, and they're even taking off of Overwatch, as you'll see later in the video that I mentioned. It seems like they're really trying to look at these other MOBAs and take the good from those games and put them into Guild Wars 2. Now, while League of Legends may not have the best matchmaking system, as I can surely tell you, Their general layout of the tiers does seem to be pretty solid, so I guess that's why they implemented that. But how will this be different from pips? It seems like, at first glance, you're thinking, okay, we had pips measure skill before and give us rewards. Well, how is this much different from this new skill rating, placing us in bronze, silver, gold, etc., compared to placing us in emerald, ruby, sapphire, etc.? Well, for one, everyone's going to get a soft reset at the beginning of each season. So based on your previous season's rating, you'll get a soft reset, and you'll basically be at a lower level. So the same thing goes with pips, so that's not something new. But what is new is that there will be placement matches. Just like in League of Legends, where you play 10 placement matches at the start of the season to sort of measure your skill, and based off of your results on those 10 placement matches, you'll be placed into the proper skill rating. Now, hopefully it's a bit more accurate than League of Legends, because I swear I've seen people who have won all 10 games and they literally get put into bronze still. Hopefully it doesn't happen here, because that would be pretty annoying. But that's kind of how it's going to go. So that's new. And what they're also implementing is a decay factor. So inactive players who don't play PvP for a while will slowly start to lower their skill rating. So if you don't play for a certain amount of time in PvP, your skill rating will start to decrease. Now, don't worry, it's only going to go to a certain amount. It's not going to continuously go down, down, down until you're at the very bottom and you're like level 0. It'll only decay to a certain maximum, and then it'll stop decaying. So there is a certain plateau that I can only reach to. But what's even bigger with this new skill rating system compared to pips, and this is the really big one that I think is going to affect a lot of us truly. And I guess I'll read it straight from the article, quoted, "There are no restrictions on backward progress with skill rating. You can move down in divisions by either losing matches or by being inactive." So what does this exactly mean? This means that there's no more, oh, I can't lose any more pips because I've made it to the next tier. I can't lose any more pips because I've made it to the next division. People who were in, I believe it was Sapphire, and Sapphire were able to basically lock themselves in to the next tier if they made it to a specific tier, and they can lose as many matches as they want, and they would never lose another pip because they were locked in. People who got to Ruby were never able to lose that rank because they were locked in. So that didn't really ever measure a person's skill. It really only measured how much they played and how much they spammed, and it was more like a reward track, as I said earlier. So now we're going to be able to lose points consistently by losing matches and by being inactive. So you can potentially lose that platinum rank that you have, or that legendary rank that you have. You won't be locked in it anymore. Now, I'm sure there may be like a lock-in system for some of the lower tiers, so people don't get discouraged. But maybe not. Maybe they're going to go full throttle with this and say, we want to make this more accurate for skill level. We want to make this more competitive. So if you lose matches, you're going to keep on, losing points. But the good thing is this, and here's where I really applaud them. Because a lot of times people will be like, okay, I don't want to play PvP because I'm not good at PvP. If I'm not good at PvP, I'm wasting my time. I'm not going to get any rewards. However, here's where it becomes really cool and really interesting. While we have this new skill rating to basically measure your skill, and you obviously get a badge next to your name, so the ability to show off that you're good at PvP, some people like that, it's still there. However, the reward system is completely changed. Rewards are not going to be based on that skill rating anymore. Pips used to be based on skill rating and for your rewards, so it kind of made it frustrating when you were playing PvP and you weren't that good at PvP and you were kind of wasting your time because you weren't getting any rewards. You could sit there for literally playing 3 hours of PvP and you would get no rewards because you would constantly climb up and climb down the ladder, and you would constantly lose and win a match, and you would go nowhere. You would get no rewards. Well, the old pip system is now going to be revamped. It's going to be rebalanced, but it's going to serve plainly as a reward track, just like it was supposed to be. So even if you lose matches, you're still going to make progress and gain pips towards a reward, meaning that you're not going to be wasting time. People who are discouraged by playing PvP because they feel like they're not good enough, or they feel like they're not going to, win as many matches as they'd like and they're not going to get any rewards, that element of the problem is gone now. You will basically be rewarded even if you lose. You will get rewarded for being a person who gets a top stat reward. You will get pips in a variety of different ways. You can get pips from winning, obviously. You can get pips from getting top stats. You can get pips from playing in a certain division. There's several ways you can gain pips, and there are several ways you can earn rewards. That's a really awesome change, I feel like, because for me personally, and even for a lot of my friends that I used to play with, they didn't want to play PvP because it felt like it was a waste of time. They weren't getting... I don't know if it was because they weren't getting good teammates or because they sucked. You know the psychology behind it. Sometimes we feel like we're doing really good. We're always getting bad teammates. And sometimes the actuality may just be because you're not that good and you feel like it's everyone else's fault. Everyone goes through that at one point in time. And once you go through that, you feel like you're wasting your time. You feel like you're not getting rewarded and you're not moving anywhere. Well, now it's completely gone, and you can still gain rewards no matter how well or how poorly you play. You will make progression to that next tier of reward. There's also no more backwards progress in pips. You're not going to lose pips anymore. So you're never going to lose a pip for losing a match. There's only positive progression in this reward system with pips. What's also really cool is that they're going to be introducing a new currency, and God, we have so many currencies in the game now, it's kind of hard to keep track. We have dungeon currencies, we have fractal currencies, we have map currencies, we have the raid currencies, we have PvP currencies now. So the new PvP currency is going to allow you to buy Ascended gear. Now this is really awesome. Now, some people could dig deep into this and speculate, oh, you know, they're making Ascended gear more available now, more accessible now, so that people can do raids more and they want to push raids further. And I guess you could look at it like that, but I just really like this because a lot of times people who play PvP, sometimes I hear them complaining that, oh, I don't want to play PvE, I can't play raids because I only like to play PvP. I don't like to play PvE. I don't like to go farming for these materials. I don't like to go farming for gold and having to craft. I don't like, you know, PvE content to get the Ascended gear. Well, now you can get this Ascended gear plainly through playing PvP. Ascended gear is being made more accessible even to those playing only PvP. With this new currency, you can now buy the Ascended gear from a vendor. And I think that's really awesome of them. And it can make raids more accessible. You know, if that one guy who plays PvP a lot says, you know, I want to try raids, they don't need to go out in the PvE world and farm for their gear or farm for gold to buy their gear or craft their gear. They can literally use their currency that they spent and invested time in PvP to get that, to buy that Ascended gear, to then try raids if they want to do that. Now, how well they're doing those raids, maybe a completely different story, but they're able to try it, you know, so I like that. I really like that. And one thing that everyone's been concerned about, and I've gotten this question so many times in the comments section. A lot of times in my PvP videos, I hear someone saying the question, what will happen next season to the legendary Ascension backpack? Well, I'll say it again, there are no changes to the Ascension backpack. The way you get this is still the exact same way. It's still going to deal with pips, it's still going to deal with leagues, it's still going to deal with the exact same thing. There are no changes made to that. You can still acquire it the same way. Now, the only thing I'm interested in is, does this mean that it's going to be easier to get this backpack? Because now that pips aren't going to be, there's no backwards progression, does this mean everyone can eventually get a legendary backpack? I'm not exactly sure how those details are worked out yet, but all the article said that ArenaNet released, there's no changes to the Ascension, everything will still be the same. So I don't know yet. If this becomes like an easy way to get the Ascension now, and this is one of the easier legendaries, then it may, some people may not like that because it may devalue the fact that it's a legendary. But, you know, personally, I don't really care. I think if everyone can have a legendary backpack, hey, that's cool, you know. And, we should have an easy legendary in the game. Or maybe we shouldn't. I think I'm gonna get some hate comments on that. No, there should not be an easy legendary. Legendary is for those who earn it and work for it. And yes, I agree with you. But the Ascension, in reality, how you got your Ascension was through a reward-based pip system. So there's no difference from it now. Maybe it's just a little bit easier. I don't know. We'll have to see how they work those things out. There's also some new changes to the personal score system. Now, whenever you're playing PvP, I always see someone saying, oh, I'm at the top of the leaderboard. I'm at the top of the leaderboards. I have more kills than you. I'm doing something. You're doing nothing. You're sitting at 0 score. Well, they're going to be changing that. Now the leaderboard will actually be showing a lot more raw statistics. They're going to be showing healing dealt, damage dealt, revives, kills, all those types of different statistics. They're also going to be showing, at the end of the game, the top stats, who got what top stats, who did well at doing what. Like if you did really good at healing, they'll give you the top stat for healing, and that'll be shown at the end of the game. This is very reminiscent of Overwatch. Overwatch is the exact same thing. They don't really have a public scoreboard, and they only really show raw statistics, and at the end of the game, they show people who got rewards and medals for those raw statistics. So I like how Guild Wars 2 is looking at these different games and really incorporating the good from those games and putting them into Guild Wars 2. That's a really great way of doing it, and I feel like a lot of other games are scared to do that because they don't want to feel like they're copying, but gotta give kudos to the PvP team here. I think they've done a lot of great things with the system, and we're really seeing a progressive and positive curve in improving this PvP system. And lastly, the only real huge change for the PvP system in general for Season 5 is that Stronghold will no longer be in ranked. Yeah, wow. A lot of people used to love grinding that because some people thought it was easier than regular Conquest. I don't know what the story behind that was, but there's no more separation in queuing for ranked. Now they're going to be adding Skyhammer in, taking Stronghold out, so now everyone can basically play Conquest. So I guess Skyhammer is no longer in beta. I guess it was good enough to go into ranked. So that's basically all the changes that we have for PvP Season 5. I do want to quickly go over some of the general changes that are coming for the professions. Now don't worry, I'm not going to be listing you all numbers and all these percentages for different classes. I'm going to go very general over some of these professions, some of the balance changes that are coming. I know some people don't really like to hear all these different numbers and different percentages and not really know what the hell's going on. So very general here, so bear with me. We will be getting a lot more skill splits. So a lot of people have been wanting skill splits, and it seems like Arena is pushing towards that a lot more now, a lot more aggressively. Skill splitting is becoming so much more relevant in every patch that we get. We're also going to be getting a new PvP amulet and a new PvP rune for the amulet. We're going to be getting 1050 precision, 1050 condition, 560 vitality, and 560 expertise. This will be one of the new amulets. Seems to be very good for engineers and rangers who tend to do a bit of condition damage. It may be good for necromancer too, but I don't really play necromancer that much, so maybe not. The other rune they're going to be getting, there's a new rune. We're going to be getting plus 175 power, plus 100 condition damage, and plus 25% movement speed. So it looks like this is going to be a really cool rune for those classes that don't really have a lot of mobility skills. This is a nice addition. Don't know how that's going to affect the power creep with that amount of condition damage and power and movement speed, but we'll see how that works. If it obviously doesn't work, they'll take it out. And more specifically to professions, the Elementalist should be hitting a bit harder more, also surviving a bit better, so they're going to make changes revolving around that. As for the Engineer, they're trying to make pistol and rifle a bit better, so they're improving the skills on those weapons to make those weapons a bit more relevant in PvP, so people use those weapons a bit more. There's also going to be less utility for Dragon Hunters. Dragon Hunters are doing a lot of damage, so they're shaving off some of that utility. But they're also giving more utility and more supportive buffs to the Guardian. So the Guardian, they're trying to make the Guardian play more like a support role, and they're giving buffs according to that. So if you like playing Guardian support, which I used to love playing, maybe you should try that out because they are buffing it towards that play style. As for Mesmers, they're not really touched that much. The only thing they're changing is increasing the sustain on that. More specifically, I will go over stats in this one because there's only one little small note that they made. Specifically, the Restorative Illusions trait is being increased to 285% healing. So that seems like a really drastic change, but I don't really play Mesmer at all, so I don't even know how drastic that is. As for Revenant, the damage will be reduced, so there's a nerf to damage. However, they are giving you the ability to stun break a bit more. And lastly, for Thieves, there are some changes being made to Sword and Pistol. They're sort of trying to buff these weapons so that Sword and Pistol are a bit more relevant in PvP, so you can use those weapons a bit more, and there's more build diversification. So those are some of the general changes, some of the bigger general changes made to the professions, and that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over today. Hopefully you guys found the video informative. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about anything, do you guys like the new PvP system? Do you think you're going to be playing it a bit more? Do you want to give PvP another chance? I think I'm going to love playing PvP a lot more because I was one of those guys that really felt like I'm not making progress. I was sort of always stuck at Ruby or Diamond, like low Diamond or high Ruby, and I never really was able to move anywhere past that. And at that point, when I got to that point, I stopped playing because I felt like I wasn't getting any more rewards. But now I think the new pip system and the new separation between pips and the new skill rating system I think it's gonna be a lot better. So let me know your opinions. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, please make sure to hit that like button. Would really appreciate it if you liked the video, you found it informative. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Would love to have you on board. We have plenty of other videos on the channel regarding Guild Wars 2, giving you guides, giving you gold guides, ascended gear guides, review of the patch notes, review of the stories in the Living World Season 3 episodes. We do giveaways. In fact, we have a giveaway coming very soon, so be prepared for that. And if you want to donate $8 to my Patreon page, you can do so as well. Anything as low as that is very helpful and very much appreciated. Click the card in the top right-hand corner of the screen. It will bring you to the page. And if you want to check out my vlogging channel, the tutorials channel, the advice channel, the music channel, links are in the description as well as on the end screen. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching as always. Hopefully you're having a good day. And this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.